Hello again. First item up on today's agenda. Good mate of mine, Jim, who's donated quite a bit to me so far and a lot of support, has a request for me to regrind a reamer. The casting on the left is for a ball stop valve for an old steam engine. They're rejuvenating and they need a 10-degree included reamer. I don't know why 10 degrees, it's a bit of an odd one to me. But I've got two poor victims there that I can try to put a 10-degree taper on the front of. I don't know how successful I'll be, but I'll give it a go. Luckily, both the reamers have centres on both ends, so I can hold them up on the Clarkson with some luck. I don't know about putting the table at the right angle, but we'll give it a go. It'll be a bit of a project sometime over the next few weeks. Okay, we'll move along and look at what else came in. And here we have a bucket of taps, absolutely grubby, but I personally believe that they're mostly unused. Jim told me they're all NC taps, or National Course, of which I have almost none, so it'll be a worthwhile effort. I'll be putting those through the ultrasonic cleaner and then a little bit of citric acid to try and get the rust that's on them off, if there is any need that I perceive. And then we'll do an inspection, see how good they are, and whether they're just worth a clean up or if I have to put them up between centres on the tap grinder. But that'll be a subject of a episode later on today. I'll show you part of the cleaning process and see how good we get at it. And next to them is a grubby little bag with about 20, it looks like they're all slot drills, varying sizes and configurations, some coated, some plain, some threaded shank. Obviously all need a bit of refurbishment, so they'll be going into the ultrasonic cleaner today as well. Hopefully we can recoup them all. It all depends whether they need fluke grinding, because I haven't set up my air bearing spindle yet, but a bit of a quick refurb is not something out of the question. Okay, moving on to the left. Finally I've lashed out. Never having had a reasonable parting system, I've bought myself a Iscar 3mm blade inserts and blade holder. Luckily I was putting in an order for a customer for a reasonable amount of product, so I was able to get those at a good price, and I'm going to be able to part with power feed for a change and also without fear. It'll be very interesting to see how well that goes. I sold some of these many years ago and found them to possibly be the best out of what's available. They have an enormous range of product at a good price. And swing a bit further to the left and look what followed me home. That's a 40 International Clarkson large chuck. I was told that if I wanted it I could have it. That was with a cutter that I sharpened a few weeks ago, and it's got a 25mm collet, so it may be useful to me. I've got nothing to hold over 20mm shanks at the moment, just an ER32 collet chuck. But there's an interesting little item. That was donated as well. It's a really, really tiny, I think it's an old Ericsson collet chuck. And it looks suspiciously like it's part of an internal spindle of a grinder of some sort. I'm very, very sure I'll be able to put that to good use for internal grinding on small items later on. Maybe even doing relief on end mills so that I can grind through to the centre. So that's what's come in. We'll move over to cleaning the product and bring you back in a few minutes. Okay, here we are back again, cleaning up a few cutters. I've boiled the jug, poured the hot water over the cutters, drained that water out, and put it in the ultrasonic cleaner with some dishwashing detergent. Put the right glasses on. Yeah, come on. That's it. And that's all it does. Not very exciting. get you in there for a bit of a close-up. Okay, you can just see a little shimmy on the surface of the water, and you can see a few bubbles in there and a little bit of movement. It does a surprisingly good job. I throw quite a lot of annular cutters. If I get more than one or two to do, I like to degrease them. Otherwise the grinding wheel just loads up with all the lubricant that's been used. Now I think this little cleaner, it's a jewellery cleaner by the way, set me back probably $35 on Fleabay, something like that, and it's been quite good. I've used it frequently for small work. I'm in love with the process that I'm going to be buying a bigger machine, once again probably a Fleabay or Viva, hopefully with a 2 litre or bigger tank, and then I can put all my work through there. It's not labour consuming, you can walk away just like using the shaper. You don't have to be there in attendance like I am at the moment, but that doesn't hurt. Now I've put it in for, I think it was 280 seconds the first time, and usually I crank it up and give it another go, so it's a total of 6 or 7 minutes, so it's reasonably fast in process. Okay, nothing exciting here. I'll run it through a couple of goes, and then we'll put some of the taps in and clean them up if we can as well. Bring you back there. Well, you saw the before shot, this is the after. I'm very impressed. They're very, very clean. A little bit of surface rust, but you don't get that gooey feel, and that makes them a lot easier to load into the machine and to grind. One thing I have done this time for a first off is I've rinsed them all with hot water to bring the temperature of the cutters up. When you have a good load in the ultrasonic cleaner, it's very easy for the temperature to drop away, and I think high temperature water up as close to boiling as you can get without burning yourself is one of the secrets to getting a good finish in the ultrasonic cleaner. So yep, that was a success. That lot of cutters is drying out, ready to get put into the cardboard box for off to the grinder, and this will be the real test. Some gungy old taps. I can already see the shanks shining up a little bit. I'm just amazed at how bloody good this thing is, just with a bit of sound waves, but they'll get a good 8 or 9 minutes soaking in there. Once again, I've put hot water in and dishwashing detergent, and that's it. No chemicals of nasty sorts, no big degreasers or anything bad like that. I do have a parts washer donated by Graham, thank you Graham, and I chose to go to the water-based solution, Aqueous cleaner, so I haven't loaded into the machine yet because it may cause corrosion with it sitting idle for a long time. But these will boil away a bit. I've got half of them in there now. The second half will go in about 6 or 7 minutes, and see what they come out like. Bring it back then. A further look in the tank of the ultrasonic cleaner, and if anybody doubts what it can do, just look at the yuck in the water. But something I found very interesting just by watching is part of the taps are exposed, and occasionally you see the fluid bubbling on the exposed part out of the solution, so the vibration is actually going through the part and above the surface of the liquid, but it's dislodging a surprising amount of yuck. Now come across to this lot. That's an old ice cream tub with a very dilute acetic acid or cooking citric acid solution, just with the shaker of powder you get from Woolies, and that would have about 1/4 teaspoon in it. You can see a slight tinge to the water. There's the occasional bubble coming off that, and I think after about 3 or 4 hours it'll be time to scrub them down and take them in and inspect and grind them. It's a much slower process than the ultrasonic cleaning, but then you're trying to get the metal oxides off. So I'm quite pleased with the process. This will be the last of the cleaning except a look at the finished product. But on to shaper work and grinding. Yes, I know, we're back on the shaper. This is the other side. First side was cleaned up quite nicely. Now I'm using the rounded end finishing tool and just taking 4 or 5 thou per cut to get this side parallel to the other. The first side was squared up in the vise with the machinist square off the base of the vise, so I'm not after injection mould accuracy or press tool accuracy. This is after all just a motor mount, but I'd like something to be reasonably square to work off. So while this is working its way across, I'll get set up to do a little bit of grinding and we'll come back when the job's finished. Well, there's this job finished. Just have to deburr and it's ready to put the holes in for the bolts. A couple of samples of the curly wee swarf up on top. We'll zoom in on that. Oop, if I can, there we are. Yep, that's what the swarf is supposed to look like with a shaving finishing cutter. The finish is reasonable. I wouldn't say it's a nice glossy finish, but this crappy bloody material is very difficult to get anything out of. But yeah, job done. About 14-15 minutes machining. I was in attendance for almost 2. So shape was a worthless BS to that. Okay, bye for now. Okay, we'll make some noise and gullet a cutter. This is a bit of a fragile operation, so take a bit of patience, please. That wasn't too bad. All I'm looking for is a groove for the cutter to escape, or the grinding wheel to escape into. So I'll try and put it into focus for you. Ah, that comes up quite well. That's all we're looking for. Something simple.